Hi, good morning, and today is April 7th, 2025, Network Cabling class, Fanshawe College. ELEC 1013, 2025. Anyways, winter. Still winter. It's actually spring right now. All right, so the first, this presentation I call a tools and equipment infrastructure technician according to the job performed. It's a title. I had to call it something. I'm going to show you, give you the idea of what possibly you need as tools if you get into the business. So the basic tools, and of course this is essential, but yet still a small part of the tools that you will need while doing an equipment, while doing this type of job. It's the course is called network cabling, but in my kind of like heart of hearts, I think that it possibly could have been called network infrastructures or data infrastructures or signal infrastructures, something like that, because what I'm giving you is way more than just just how to pull a cable from one point to another, and that involves certain type of tools that realistically you will need in this while working in this field if you end up doing that kind of stuff. All right, so from the top left corner, we got laptop. That's the first thing I'm showing you. Yes, you will need a laptop to get into different types of gateways, other network devices, switches, and modems and whatnot. Not because you will be expected to go in there and do the setup. It works a little bit different. As a technician in the field, your role is basically as a extended hand of the level 2 support tech. A level 2 support technician will have all the passwords and will know all the structure of the programming, will know what is going on with the programming of a switch or a modem, for example. What you will be expected to do is having a laptop and knowing how to turn that thing on, and knowing how to call up a command prompt. So I would suggest that you would, there's tons of information on internet on how to use the command prompt. As some of the old guys like me remember still the DOS times, so it's very similar to the DOS commands. But sometimes you're going to have to engage the command prompt in order to shoot some commands over the serial interface or through the network cable into whatever equipment you're going to have. And while that, you will be on the phone with the level 2 support technician telling you what to do. Okay? Or sometimes you will use software like, I think it's called Teams or some other software that they can just take over your laptop and do the stuff that they need to do, and they just release your laptop. All right, so plus there's other things that security alarms, fire alarms, or whatnot. They also need a laptop to be programmed. Okay, now moving on, basic. That's not nothing new. Just a basic. Let me just call out my laser thing here. Yeah, basic multimeter. I mean, you gotta have that sometimes, right? So sometimes you need to measure the resistance, continuity, voltage, if you need to. That goes also with other types of diagnostic equipment, which is, for example, right here, this toning device. The toner, we showed you how to use that more or less when we were doing our POTS installation. Plain old telephone service, just so nobody gets any funny ideas. We used the toning device, which looked a little bit different, and probably, this is the second time you see it around, maybe third time. There's probably 50 other ways of producing the toner device. So basically what it has some kind of a transmitting device, and it has some detecting device with audio. So toner can also give you the continuity, and some of the toners work with pots. So when you have the telephone cable that plug into it and you plug into the telephone outlet, it was going to give you green light if everything is good, which means the battery is present and the polarity is correct. If the battery is present and the polarity is reversed, you're going to get a red light on the toner. And if there's nothing going on, you're just going to get nothing. So toning device and that, because sometimes you can use the continuity meter if you want to check the the door contact, if it works. Open the door, close the door, see if the contact works. So you can put the continuity meter on the other side, right by the panel, and put it on the continuity meter, and that's going to give you the beep when the when the contact is closed. Toner also has a similar feature, so you can with that one you can probably use LED for the most of the toners. Now, other diagnostic devices. Here's just a quick check. Anywhere from like $20 to $40 at even hardware stores would sell that. Some of the hardware stores. Just a quick verification if the wire map is sort of okay. What do I mean by sort of okay? It's for example, for straight link, you're going to match a pin to pin. Everything is just pin 1 goes to pin 1, pin 2 goes to pin 2, and so on. It is going to show you that things are connected straight. But if you have messed up, like for example, you have connected the wrong colors of the pairs, or if you split the pairs and you just connected just so the pin to pin is connected, but there's no rhyme or reason on how you wired that thing as far as the colors of the wires, or if you split the pairs, then that thing is not going to tell you. Right? It's just going to, assume that you have the colors right and the polarity is right, and it's just going to give you 1-to-1, just a quick check if you have the, that's about $40. Now here is the qualifier, and this one is about $1,000 or so, and this is going to give you wire map test, and it's going to, just as we were testing that during our labs, and it's going to give you a certain frequency response test on all the pairs, and it's going to test for the length and so on. So it's going to qualify a link as, let's say, Cat5e or Cat6 maybe. Right? So as far as the diagnostic basic equipment, also if you want to have certification, then you need a little bit more expensive, about $6,000 equipment, and you can buy those or you can rent those. If you do a lot of it, you charge accordingly, so it makes sense for you to buy it. But if you just do it once in a while, the client requires certification of all the links, then you can rent that. And the tests have to be done with certain way, with certain piece of equipment, and they have to be sent. I forget what the company is called, but if you're doing that, let me know. I'll tell you where to send those tests, and they have to be approved as to certify as Cat 6, for example. So that's as far as that. Now, then of course, I just put one punch tool here with an empty insert for the head, but I showed you which tools to buy, which tools not to buy. So I'll just leave it as that, like that. So you will need, for sure, you will need 110 punch down tool. For sure, you will need Bix punch down tool. Anything else, you can improvise. If you're dealing with 66 connections that you have 1 or 2 phone lines connected, don't tell anybody that I told you that you can get away with needle nose pliers with those 66 blocks. All right, so that's as far as punch tools, and of course that goes along with the crimpers. So if you need a crimper, so I didn't draw it here, I didn't put that thing on, but RG45 or RG12 crimper. Then you need a stripper for the coaxial cable and the crimper for the coaxial cable, and so on. So this, I just kind of symbolize that with a punch tool. that and all the crimpers. And by the way, every punch tool or a crimper, it's about $100. Right? So you don't buy those tools all at once. You just buy them, you build your arsenal of tools over the years. Yeah? And you buy them as you need them sometimes, although when you buy them as you need them, you don't necessarily get a good deal on tools. But there's a happy medium somewhere when it comes to that. I'm not going to get into the philosophy of marketing because that's not that's not what the class is about. Wire pulling. Wire pulling. Over here, what we see here is something that's called the glow sticks. They're fiberglass. Some of them are thicker, some of them are thinner, and they can be cascaded together. So on one end of the glow stick, you're going to have a thread, male thread. And on the other side of that, you're going to have the female thread on that. And you can just join them as you go along. You can connect through 2, 3, 4, 5, or more of some of those glow sticks in order to push some wires through or reach certain places and so on. And also they come with different types of attachments. Like for example, here is a little bit of a chain on that that you could just maybe it would make sense for you to use that chain, and then you use that little bit of a magnet on a telescopic type of a stick to grab that chain in order to find where that wire pulling pathway, and some hooks and grabbers, and I don't know, that looks like a cream weeper, but that's not for whipping cream. And of course, when you're storing or transporting that, it just comes with nice transparent kind of a see-through tube, so you can put it away in your van, so you don't have. One thing I'm going to tell you about those glow sticks: whenever you're handling them, do not grab them with your bare hands and slide your hands along the length with that, because some of the fiber glass, they chip away, and you're going to have that in your hand. So just don't slide your hand on it. Right? And of course, the good old fish line. Fish line is a steel line that is wound on this holder here, this container, and you can pull it out by holding this handle, pull that thing out, and just shove it into pipes and whatnot, so you can pull the wires or run the string. And how do we mount the wires to the fish line? And how do we mount the wires to the glow sticks? Well, you got the glimpse of the nose preparation. We use tape. We go through a lot of tape in order to mount wires onto like glow sticks, fish line, string, and so on, or each other, the wires to each other. Now, the fish lines usually divide into two different categories. One would be the steel fish line, and the other one would be the fiberglass fish line. Fiberglass is a bit softer. Sometimes you want that little bit of a softer action. Sometimes you need something more substantial to push through some certain areas. Also with the softer fiberglass fish, or fish line, popularly call it fish, it is safer to use that when there are existing wires in the pipe, in the conduit. The fiberglass is more gentle when you're pulling 200 feet or 150 feet. With the fish line, steel fish line, you can damage the existing wires when you're pulling those. Okay? And of course, basic screwdrivers, drill bits, drill, and you can have more than one type of drill. Just gonna want use it as a screwdriver, or just drill simple holes. And sometimes you need to have some heavy-duty hammer action drills, to the point that sometimes you're going to need them so big that you rent them because it doesn't calculate that you have that buy that one big drill for just one job. Now, if you're doing certain type of jobs that requires that all the time, yes, it makes sense for you to buy it. Otherwise, yeah, you can rent tools as well. And of course, ladders, and that goes with the ladder. Documentation, no. Licensing. You need working on heights ticket in order to work on a ladder. And if you're planning to get one of those tickets, so you will need working on heights is a good idea, very good idea. If you don't want to pay any fines when the inspector catches you on a ladder without you having that valid working on heights ticket. And 6-foot ladder, still, you have to have that ticket. And there's also a good idea to get a more elevated platform ticket, or popularly called lift tickets, so scissor lifts, boom lifts, and whatnot. If you're looking for any of those, talk to me. I will point you in the right direction where to get those. Yeah, it's going to cost you some money because, usually the companies who rent the equipment, they do have some facilities to train you on that, and of course they charge money for the training. But whatever money you're going to spend is so worth it, first of all, for your safety and others. And the other reason is that when the inspector asks you to present that, you'll have it, you'll go good and legit. If not, you're going to have to pay way more money than for the training. Way more. All right, so I think we've gone through pretty much the first slide. Now, I'll talk to you about some things. This is a two-tier, kind of course, first part of the week and second part of the week. So we'll talk about the project, the way projects are done, right? The structure of the project doability, I would say. And the other part is I'm going to give you some insight on other type of equipment that you use to hang things, to mount things, and fix things to walls and things like that. But let's see first, project stages. This is almost like a summary of what we have done, but in one organized way. The project stages, more or less, I would divide into this kind of stuff: survey, assessment, site work, commissioning, and billing. All right. Let's take a look at some details of that. Survey. What is a site survey? That's the first thing. After getting a contract or before getting a contract, before even quoting things. It's an inspection of an area where the work is planned. So someone experienced will go and take a look and see what is what. The type of site survey and the best practices required depend on the nature of the project. So, sometimes you're going to just go and say, yeah, okay, I can see there's a drop ceiling. Yeah, there's a cold air return plenum. So that means free air. We need some FT6, make a note. FT6 wiring is required. And there is some old Cat5, I can see wires. So those wires have to be replaced. How easy is it? Do we need any special equipment? Do we need lift to rent a lift? Or do we just get away with the ladders? And is there any obstacles that maybe there's a difficult passage to get the wires through from one floor to another because whatever reason? All those notes have to do. So sometimes the survey takes about 20 minutes or 15 minutes and everything is straightforward. And sometimes for the bigger project, the survey can actually last a week because you go through everything, look into closets, see, but it's well worth it because that lets you complete the job. That lets you plan out the job in a way that you don't get surprises that will cause you time loss and thus money loss, right? Or maybe you needed some lift, like a scissor lift, but you didn't know that you were going to need that, and then you're going to have to spend money so it helps you with the quoting on the job, and it helps you with proper execution of the job, right? So for that, what do you need? Well, you need notepad, camera, tape measure, basic screwdrivers, because sometimes you have to open some panels and just take a look inside. Of course, you need a flashlight. Ladder is a good idea. Always show up with a PPE because in some cases you're going to have to have hard hat or safety glasses or safety boots to enter certain areas. All right, so just be prepared. It just makes you look professional when you have those. And of course, you're not going to be sent there if you're first week on the job to do a survey. It's going to be someone more experienced, or they might send you with someone so you learn how to do that. So, so that's a site survey. It's a structured way of conducting business when approaching a project. Then assessment. Basically, it's preparing a quote. You need all the survey notes, and you need all your knowledge on how things are supposed to be installed and what works with what equipment you need, all that. And then you make a list. And you call the distributors to make sure the equipment is still available, or maybe they have something else to work with that. So that's could be lengthy process, somewhat lengthy, in order to gather all the prices. Based on the survey notes, you will be able to tell how many man hours you're going to need for the job, and based on that, on the man hours, you can really mess things up, because for the man hours you charge, I'm not sure, maybe $90 per hour per a person, and then you pay the person $28 per hour, and the rest goes to the company. So on that man hours, if you miscalculate that, if you miscalculate that in your favor, and the client says okay, which is unlikely because there could be other people quoting on the same job, other companies quoting on the same job, and they all could have similar type of man-hour calculation, and you're way off. That's too much. So the client's going to say, hey, how come you provided 30 hours and the other guys only provided 7? That kind of stuff. So, but if you miscalculate the other way, you can actually lose money on the project. And if it's a small project, then you just go, okay, let's move on. Let's forget about this. Let's just finish it up and move. But if it's a huge project, then you can actually put the company on there. You can bankrupt the company. So that's a very important assessment, or preparing a quote. So pricing, evaluation, estimating, and all the documentation gathering, and clients want to see something that's called cut sheets. And these are the cut sheets, just like cutting things out. Cut sheets are like a picture of the equipment and maybe some description of it and things like that, almost like a brochure type of documentation. Okay, what's that piece of equipment? What's that voice processor? What's that sound processor? Oh, that's what it looks like, and here's the specs. So those cut sheets are also quite often included in the quote for the client. And for that, you need to have contact with your suppliers and distributors. You need to know all the prices. You need some sort of office setup. You can't do that on your knee. And of course, you need your knowledge. So people who can estimate big jobs are in demand. And it's a good paying job to go and do the quotes. But you need some years of experience before you can do that. But those years of experience, they go quick. Before you know, you get, I do this thing for the last 9 years. Oh, wow. Who would have thunk? All right. So things like that. All right. Now, then the site work, installation and service. Well, continue the following pages. All right. So let's take a look what's on the following pages. Oh, there's no following pages on the working site. Site work, you just go and install. So for that, you need a technician that knows what they're doing. And maybe if you're new on the job, you will be sent onto the job with someone who knows what they're doing. That's how I started. I don't want to tell you how many years ago. And yes, it was a little bit, I wouldn't say stressful, but I had to have my attention levels elevated, because I needed to learn how to do things. Yes, I went to college and I had my electronics knowledge based on that. But nobody asked me to solve any Ohm's law question. but they told me to pull a wire from one place to another in a way that it's safe and proper. So, and that's what I got paid for. Now, of course, did I use that knowledge later on? Yes, I did. I used that knowledge a lot. So, well, I wouldn't be able to do my job without having that knowledge, like the Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's law and all the other laws and knowledge of electronics and electricity and circuits. I wouldn't be able to do my job. But you use that knowledge as you go along. You're not going to have, as I said, you're not going to have, we have 3 Ohm's law questions to solve today, and you're going to get paid for it. All right, so that comes, the site work. I tried to show you as much as I could with the circumstances that we had there. So we terminated some jacks. That's what you'll be doing. Terminated some patch panels. That's what you'll be doing. Even that silly kind of a nose prep that looks almost like an insignificant type of lab. Trust me, you will use that a lot. And doing a proper preparation for wire pulling can make or break your day. You will see when you get there. Anything else? All the terminations, all the cable ways of handling and all that stuff. You were going to use that. The only thing I didn't show you is actually we didn't, up to some point we did with the PA system lab when we had to pull the wires along the J hooks. So it's a similar type of environment, but on a bigger scale. So the only thing we didn't have, is pull 30 wires from here to there, terminate them, and verify them and connect the network. Because we just had 14 weeks, and but that stuff you're going to learn on the job, and service. So there are 2 types of site works. One is the installation. That's we're going to with the project management kind of a thing, but service is another part. A lot of clients need just not to install new stuff, but maybe because some of the equipment that they're using already is malfunctioning, somebody broke something, somebody was working in the ceiling and ripped out some wires, or maybe they need some little bit of addition. Maybe, okay, we need a couple more phones because we hired 2 more people. Can you make those desks work for we need the data connection and we need the phone connection for that. Somebody has to do it, and that would be you. So that would be a service call. Need. Oh, what we need for that? Well, you're going to find out what we need for that on the following pages. Let's see how we can go, because I put part 1 and part 2 in one big presentation on this, which I'm going to release on Friday, April 11, 2025 for our class. So let's see how far we can go with the first part here. Now, after the installation, there's something called commissioning. Commissioning is after you have installed, let's say, VoIP system. It has certain features, it has certain buttons, it has certain types of display. Yes, it's a phone, you pick it up, you dial the number and you talk to someone. But there's some features that you need to know how to access, like how to do a page with this specific phone system. How to do a call transfer, like a transfer to another thing. Every single phone system has a little slight different way of going about certain things. How to program some of your favorites, favorite dial things, and it's just a phone system, right? But anything else, commissioning is gathering up the people who are going to use it, present the system. Okay, it's been installed. This is what it looks like. This is how it behaves. This is do's and don'ts of that thing, and this is how you do so and so and so and so and so. And sometimes you get different groups. So you'll be going to have a presentation for the management people because they are using that whatever they are using in a different way that the people who are on the production plant or supervisors or something like that. So that is called a commissioning, right? Presentation and training. What do you need? You need you. You need the audience because you need to talk to the audience. And you need some sort of a conference room with maybe some extra equipment set up for the demonstration purposes. Oops. Yeah. And of course, this is my favorite part, is the billing. And the billing, make sure, I already talked to you about billing in stages. I'm going to say it again. Bill in stages. You can have the equipment delivery stage. Get the money from the client. I talked to you about that. So that's how you can do $200,000 equipment without having $200,000 in your account. As long as you got a good line of credit with the distributor, you get the equipment, you deliver that on site, you get the paycheck from the client, you pay the money to the distributor. There goes $200,000. All right, bill in stages. That's one way of doing that, so you can actually have the job possible. Other things, build them right away, because towards the end of the project, you might find some funny things. Say, oh, you know what? Can you wait maybe a month or so for the payment, because I had to pay all the other trades, and it just so happened that, that is not your problem. But what are you gonna do? So build them right away while they still have the money. Okay, go in stages. Especially contractors, let's say rough-end stage, wiring rough-end stage. So rough-end stage is complete, we need a paycheck for so and so before we continue. Then termination stage or whatnot is complete. Just try to break it into stages, because sometimes the general contractors go bankrupt. And if you say, okay, I'm going to have, yeah, you can pay me at the end of the job, that's not a way to do. Because you still have to pay, you still have to pay your bills, you have to live, you have to pay the people that you hire, if that's the, if you're the owner of the company. So yeah, and if the, towards the end of the project, the contractor, the general contractor goes bankrupt, there's no way for you to get your money. And you have spent the time, and sometimes you're not even allowed to remove some of the equipment, because it's part of the building. So bill in stages. Right? And for the billing, that's where you can buy your favorite island that you always dreamed of, or a favorite car, or maybe you can buy some more tools to do more work. Right? Now, excuse me, as far as the site work, see, yeah, there is some more. It turns out that there is, yeah. Oh, I did the presentation, so yeah. Okay, site work. The first, when it comes to installing any kind of equipment that we install, wiring is a huge part of it. Big, big, big part of it. And then there's that so-called rough-in stage. We might have talked about it a little bit before. Rough-in stage is getting the wires to location. So if there is that, somewhere there's that main equipment room or LAN room, you're going to have wires to be pulled into this area here. And if it's very simple to just pull them down and terminate, then you leave them as that. If you think that you need to pull them down and just coil them up at the jack location, because maybe some drywall is going to come later and it's going to be more difficult, then you do that as part of your roughing. You have to judge it by yourself. And it's a roughing, just pull the wires to location, coil them up. So what do I say? After planning the cable distribution, the roughing stage begins. All cables are pulled from the home run location to their destinations. The cables are coiled in bundles at both ends, but not terminated. Okay, well, I'm so smart. I wrote all that stuff. Wow. Make sure that all the cables are clearly identified at both ends. Oh yeah. All runs are securely mounted in the ceiling space or otherwise raceways, and the work is done according to the local building and electrical code. Like, for example, if it's a cold air return plenum that I talked to you about already, then you need to have FT6 rated jacketed cable. If it's not a cold air return cold air return plenum, then yes, you can get the less expensive FT4 jacketed cable. The cable specifications FT4 and FT6 are no different. It's just the type of jacketing is used. One of them burns easy, which is FT4, which is not fire rated, and FT6 doesn't burn as easy, and it's FT6. It's a fire rated. And I already talked to you about that last time we saw each other. Right? So now, as far as cables, sometimes the cables come in boxes, and sometimes cables come on reels. So usually it takes more than one person to do the wiring. Bigger project would involve 3 or 4 people. Small project, 2 people is good. Try to avoid one person wire pulling team, because if you have, let's say, so many wires to be pulled, and it's going to take, let's say, 10 hours for 2 people team. You eliminate one person, it's not going to be 20 hours. It's going to be at least 30 hours. It's just how it works. All right, rough-in, tools, equipment, structures, pathways, and raceways. Cable installations begin with establishing the pathways. Now, free air runs or in raceways. Free air runs, which means the wires are not in the pipe, not in the conduit. It could be on the tray. Also could be considered a free air run. Or in the J-hooks, with the J-hooks. Here's a J-hook, all right? And the J-hooks we have in class, so you know what they look like. All right, so free air runs. Main runs should be kept in bundles. Main runs should be kept in bundles and suspended independently of any ceiling structures. That's why we use the J-hooks, or we use any kind of other raceways. We can't tie those wires to the rods that are holding the ceiling tiles frame. And I'm going to say that again. It's because of the, well, believe it or not, it's fire and safety that's involved in that. Simply because when, God forbid, there will be a fire somewhere, and then the fireman would just go in there and I forgot what they're called, those hooks on the stick, and they have to pull some of the structures down. If there are some other things tied to the structure, it's just less safe for them. So the reason for that, any wiring that should have independent suspension to the red iron, and I'll show you what the red iron is, or to the walls, but not to any kind of, especially not the structure that is holding the ceiling tiles. As much as possible, establish straight runs. So pulling multiple cables can be done efficiently. Yeah. If you establish a straight line, you can more easier, you can easily pull a greater bundle of wires in a straight line. So if you can say, okay, we're going to have 30 wires going in there from that place to that place, and somewhere at the end of that pull, they are fanning out, they're going different directions. But if you can, as much as you can in a straight line, to pull the whole bundle, that's a bonus for you, because you can pull more wires at a shorter time. And if you have 2 or 3 wires to pull, there's no difference. But if you have 800 of those to be pulled, then and a little bit that it can save you time is accumulating. Right, J-hooks mounted on the walls or suspended from the ceiling on the threaded rods are most common for this scenario. So, what did I write here? J-hooks mounted on the ceiling. J-hooks mounted on the walls or suspended from the ceiling on the thread rods. Okay, threaded rods are the most. So J-hooks can be mounted in the ceiling or on the walls or suspended on the threaded rods. We'll show you what those are. They're quite popular. Other raceway types such as conduits or cable trays can be used as well. Raceways. As the alternative to the free air method, closed raceways or cable trays are used. All the raceways should be installed before the cables are run. That's a stage. It's a stage of the job. You complete that stage, you move on to the next one. Mount the raceways first, then pull the wires. Don't just go, okay, do 30 feet of raceway, pull the wire, and do another 30 feet of raceway and pull it. No. Hint, hint, hint. Position the J-hooks no further than, oh, well, it's a hint. It's a rule as well. The J-hooks should not be further than 4 feet apart to avoid cable sagging. Do I have a picture of that? Right here. Right. If you have a bundle of cables, and if you put the J-hooks, these are like wall-mounted ones, if you put them further than 4 feet apart, they're going to sag too much, and the pressure that the wires on the bottom, that they're going to have too much pressure on them, to the point that some of the cable specifications can be altered. J-hooks come in different sizes, and they are rated for how many wires they can actually fit. So see, here's a one big one, 4-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch J-hook, 1-inch, and they are metal J-hooks, or they can be plastic ones as well. And they can be cascaded on threaded rods, and this is the red iron, usually because it's red. This one is painted, but the red iron, this is the structure that holds the seating, steel structure. Let's go back to what we were doing here. Here. Position the J-hooks no further than 4 feet apart. It's a rule. Threaded rods, what are they? If you go to any hardware store like Home Depot, Rona, or Home Hardware, you're going to have a section of threaded rods. Just take a look. There are different diameters, and well, they're like what, 2 feet long, 4 feet long, or something like that. You can cut them to length, and you can use them as you please. Like, for example, to mount a raceway or a shelf. For example, here. Here is a couple of Unistrat strips mounted on the threaded rod, and between those there is an air duct that is run. You can mount your own threaded rod structures for wire pulling and mounting equipment and whatnot. Threaded rod is a relatively long rod that is threaded on both ends. So sometimes you're going to have the thread just go so far on both ends. But what you want really is the one that you have the thread all along, so you can cut them to different length. You know? The thread might extend along the complete length of the rod. Right? So that's what they call threaded rods. Strut channel. Strut channel, that's what it looks like. And it also comes in different lengths, 10-foot lengths, 8-foot lengths. You can cut them to length, and you can make structures out of that. Combine that with the threaded rods, you have some Lego blocks for adults, okay? You're playing with the Lego blocks for children, doing toys. Now, these are the Lego blocks for adults. You actually use them for work and get paid for it. Now, threaded rods, the strut channel, that's what it looks like. They come in different shapes, different versions. So solid channel, there's no any holes in them. There's a punched channel, half slotted, that was looks like slotted, and half channel. These are the most popular ones here, which would be the half slotted channels. Okay. Because those you can use as orientation marks, or you can use that to push those threaded rods and put some bolts and nuts to hold those in places and all that stuff. Now, how do you mount the threaded rod in that? There also is something that's called a spring nut mount. You just install, it's a spring-loaded nut. See, there's a thread here, and you put it on top of that opening there, the slot. And once you start turning in the threaded rod, it can just go as far as you want and so on. And they're spring-loaded nuts. So you just install that. Click to watch when you download the presentation of how there's beautiful, so easy to use, those spring nut mounts. Okay, strut channel, a standardized formed structural system used in the construction and electrical industries for lighting, structural support, often for supporting wiring, plumbing, or mechanical components such as air conditioning or ventilation systems. So it's a pretty universal thing. And if you go to Home Hardware or Rona or Home Depot or any of the bigger Lowe's, you're going to find a section where the threaded rods are not too far. Maybe even in the same section, you're going to see some threaded rods. So just take a look at that and familiarize yourself with it. Quite often, well, this is a galvanized steel, so just be careful when you're cutting using a blade, like a chop saw blade, to cut those. So it looks like a stone blade. Sparks are flying. So whenever you have the galvanized steel and the sparks are flying, they're going to be toxic fumes produced. They are not going to kill you right away, but they are really deadly for you in the long run. So keep that in mind. All right, J-hooks. All right, we already saw some of what the J-hooks look like. They can be mounted on the threaded rods. The threaded rods can be driven into the concrete structure, or they can be mounted on the red iron. Depending on what situation you have, you're going to have to apply the proper equipment. And you can have like those J-hooks trees formed, because they can be mounted like this on the both sides of the, of the holder. And you can use, that way, you can utilize the space quite efficiently. And sometimes you need a lot of those J-hooks to pull a lot of wires. Yes, sometimes you do. All right. We already saw this slide here. That's what it looks like in reality. Sometimes over here, there's some J-hooks on one side, but you can have also, you can utilize the other side to increase the space for the wire pulling. And of course, they come in different sizes. Of course, the small sizes are less expensive and the bigger sizes are more expensive. So, why can't you just get all big ones? Well, first of all, sometimes you're limited with space. And sometimes when, when you have a couple bucks difference, or maybe $5 difference, $5 difference, then, from one to another. And if you're buying like 600 of them, then it makes a difference. And metal or plastic, I've used both. I can't say any good or bad thing about either. They are equally good when it comes to. Now, this one here is a ceiling mount. See that? This one here is a wall mount. And you can also mount those on the threaded rods. So when you buy those J-hooks, you gotta make sure that you get the proper ones for the job that you're doing. Also, you can mount threaded rods. If you're driving concrete, there are different types of fixings. It's like, for example, here's the threaded rod hanger. And that's what it looks like. It's a threaded shaft there. You drive into concrete. Well, first you need to drill a hole with the hammer drill. And the hole is supposed to be on the size that's specified when you buy those. They're going to have that in the packaging, what the size of drill bit to use and how deep to drive it in. You drive it into concrete and you drive that into the concrete. And if it's properly done, it can handle a lot of weight. Problem sometimes is when you have those perforated steel ceiling that is a layer of steel on top or like below, but I'm going to say on top of the layer of steel that's finishing up this, so there's not bare concrete, there's a layer of steel you have to go through. That makes the job a heck of a lot longer, and you go through a lot of drill bits, because first you have to drill through the steel, and once you drill through the steel, you have to use different type of drill bit, and then once you drill through the steel, you also going to damage that drill bit because you're a little bit going to go into the concrete. You change the drill bit, and then you keep going. Some of those jobs, yes, they can be interesting. Tell you that. One thing before I let you go, watch for something because quite often, and now pay really good attention to what I'm going to say. Quite often the ceiling is spread with the spray-on insulation. Now, sometimes it's going to be relatively harmless insulation, and sometimes it's going to be something that's called MMMF, triple MF. It stands for man-made mineral fiber. That man-made mineral fiber, MMMF, is considered to be just as bad as asbestos. So you disturb that, you breathe that, you're getting that inside you and it's not coming out. So whenever there's a job that you're going to have to, if you see some of the MMMF sprayed on, and it looks like dried out mud sprayed onto the ceiling, and it dried out. You can't tell just by looking at it whether it's the harmless or is it the, well, relatively harmless, or is it the MMMF. The only way to find out is that if you take a sample of that and take it to a lab. But the site facilitators will have documentation. They should know. The general should know. If there's a job, the general contractor should know that because they will have their own surveys, and if they see that, it's their job to make sure that this is MMMF or not. And they should provide you with the documentation. If not, you ask them. And you'll be surprised how quickly they will tell you that they know if it is or not. And if it is, then you need to take some extra precautions when dealing, because if you wanted to drill a hole in that thing here, and this thing is sprayed with that MMMF, you're going to have to clear that little bit, which means you're going to disturb that, which is going to get airborne, so you're going to have to proper PPE, just almost like dealing with asbestos, and then you're going to drill the hole. Treat that, what I just said, take it seriously, because that can, it can harm your health. And one of those things is that it doesn't harm your health right away. It comes out years later. Right, I think we're going to stop here today because it's almost, I think, a couple minutes over. And then we're going to continue with your group. I'm going to continue the next part in person. And that's how we're going to, I think we made a pretty good ways with that. We went about halfway. Good. All right, so I'll see your group next time we see in person. I forgot what the day it is. All right, thank you for your attention, and have a really good week. And what day is it today, kids? That's right, it's almost Friday. I know it's Monday, but every day is almost Friday. With that happy thought, have a wonderful week.